Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 9 here in the National Football League. Huge matchup. No, I'm just kidding. This is supposed to be an all-out massacre in Seattle. 0-7 Bucs traveling to the 7-1 Seattle Seahawks, winners of 11 straight at home. No way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers even make this thing close. They're going to get embarrassed. This is going to be a blowout of epic proportions. Just hurry up, get the game started so Seattle can clobber these guys and move on to week 10. That was the initial thought going into this game. Seahawks had a couple of tough games on the road. They're back home, a little bit of home cooking in front of the 12th man. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is in way over their head. This game is going to get ugly and get ugly in a hurry. At least that's what we all thought. But remember, assuming can do you know what to you and me. So let's go to the big board and discuss the 0-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the 7-1 Seattle Seahawks at CenturyLink Field in front of the 12th man. Great opening drive featuring beast mode, travels deep into Tampa Bay territory, but ends up with a Russell Wilson interception by Mark Barron. Look, I'm not accustomed to seeing Russell Wilson make mistakes like this when there are point opportunities to be gained. There was an opportunity to put up some points here. Marshawn Lynch got it going early and often in this game, and on this drive, he was dominant. You get down into the score, and we know Stephen Hauschka can kick it from about 55 if you need him to, and you weren't even anywhere close to that. You were probably going to have to settle, if you had to settle, in fact, for a field goal. You were well within his range, 42 yards or so, maybe 45 or 48 at the longest. Well within his range. Points are there to be had, and Russell Wilson turns it over. That was a bad omen in this game, but again, it's Tampa Bay. How bad could it be? So what? You turned it over. Don't want to make a habit of turning the football over when there are points to be gained, but it's Tampa Bay. You're at home. It's okay. Sweep it under the rug. Let's keep it moving. Hold on a minute. After a great drive by Mike James and a pass interference on Earl Thomas, Bucs get into the end zone on a Glennon to Wright hookup. It's 7-0. So Mike Glennon finds Tim Wright in the end zone. 7-0 Tampa Bay. Okay, all right. So they got up to a lucky start. It's 7-0. Oh, whatever. Okay, Tampa Bay gets on the board early. We know the Bucs don't like to score a lot of points. They'll probably score 10 or 13 and be blown out 41-13 in this game. You know what I'm saying? So forget about this early 7-0 start for Tampa Bay. And forget that Russell Wilson threw a pick when they had a chance to get points. It doesn't matter. It's Tampa Bay, right? Right? Wrong. Beautiful drive. Beautiful escape and throw by Mike Glennon to Tyquan Underwood for a 21-yard TD strike. Wait a minute. It's 14-0 Tampa Bay. What's going on out here? Or, in the great words of Vince Lombardi, what the hell is going on out there? I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. I expected this thing to be a blowout, start to finish. So, Tampa Bay's up 14-0, and we're late in the second quarter now. What's going on? The Seahawks should have scored by now. We're into the second quarter, and they don't have any points. And oh, by the way, Tampa Bay has 14. Don't worry. No need to fret. It's still the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll pick a number. They'll get comfortable. The Seahawks will get even. Then they'll leave them. And this thing, you'll forget that it was even 14-0 before it's all said and done. Right? Right? Wrong. The ensuing kickoff, Jermaine Kearse fumbles, and it's recovered by the Buccaneers deep in Seahawks territory. On the very next play, Mike Glennon to Tim Wright down to the 4-yard line with a personal foul tacked on leads to a halfback jump pass by Mike James to Tom Crabtree. What in the Vince Lombardi is going on out there? It's 21-0. Who signed up for this? It's 21-0. Wait a minute. It's 21-0. to Tampa Bay, not Seattle. Oh, wait. I don't know what's going on here. Somebody wake me up. I'm dreaming, right? Somebody pinch me. It's not 21-0 Tampa Bay. Yes, it is. And the Buccaneers are pulling out all the stops. We got an onside kick that was actually successful. They were offsides, so it was negated. We get a halfback jump pass from the 2-yard line to a tight end that's on the ground at the time of the catch. Seattle's in for a dogfight. They're down 3 scores, and we're approaching halftime. What is going on? All right, so now pass interference leads to a first scoring drive by the Seahawks as Wilson connects with Jermaine Kearse for a touchdown, cuts the lead to 21-7. Jermaine Kearse tries to atone for the muffed kickoff and the fumble that led to the third touchdown in the game for Tampa Bay. So now it's a 14-point lead, 2 scores. Buccaneers are still up. But again, I'm not buying the Buccaneers winning this game. I'm just not. Even though they were up by 21, even though the Seahawks have struggled in this game, beast mode is still running the ball. The Seahawks are still at home. And you're the 0-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No, you're not winning this game. No way. No way. So that's your score at the half. 21-7 Tampa Bay. Wow. That's a surprising halftime score. We enter the second half. Productive opening drive of the second half for Tampa Bay, which results in a field goal. Maybe this is their day. 24-7. Maybe Seattle can't stop them. Mike James is running all over the Seattle Seahawks front. Mike Glennon has time because the running game has been so effective. He's finding guys open. They're doing what they want to do. They've taken the crowd out of this game. Man, the things are starting to line up for Tampa Bay in this game. Maybe they actually might win. Just maybe. I'm not sold yet. I'm just not sold on an 0-7 bunch that doesn't know how to close the show. I'm not buying it yet, but I'm telling you what, they're slowly winning me over in this game, and I don't know if I can believe what my eyes are seeing right now. Russell Wilson leads Seattle back down the field and runs it in himself to cut the lead to 10 at 24-14. Tampa Bay still up, but now you feel like the pressure is starting to be applied to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're starting to get tight. They're starting to tense up. They see, for the first time in this game, they see Tampa Bay in the rearview mirror. It's one thing to be up 14. It's one thing to be up 17. It's one thing to be up 21. Only up 10, now you can see them in the rearview mirror. And when you're 0-7, the last thing you need to do is hear footsteps. Those Buccaneers at 0-7, they're hearing footsteps up 10. So Golden Tate's huge punt return leads to a field goal. Now it's a 7-point deficit at 24-17. And Golden Tate, I talked about this on a couple of different occasions about just how tough he is. And he did a no-no on his punt return. He fielded this punt inside the 5-yard line. But when you're as good at punt returns as he is, and again, he's up there with some of the best in terms of return men, he runs the ball so violently. And for a guy of his stature, he's not a big guy, but he runs so hard. And this goes back to his background as a running back. He runs the football like a running back. He runs it with violent intentions. He's hard to break down. He's a load on punt returns. Huge return, leads to a field goal, gets the crowd involved. Now the Buccaneers, they sense they're in the danger zone. And the Seahawks, they're starting to smell blood. They know they've got this Buccaneers team hearing footsteps. They know they've got this Buccaneers team second-guessing themselves. And like I told you, when you're an 0-7 team, you don't score points. 24, that's a lot for Tampa Bay. They're nice and comfy on that number 24. They're not moving anywhere. They're not scoring any more points. So if you're Seattle, it's your job to catch these guys and beat them in regulation. This doesn't even need to be dragged out into overtime. Beat them in regulation. So the Seahawks get the football back after scoring on their last 2 possessions. They move it right down the field. They get to about the 4-yard line. Wow! Monstrous pick by Keith Tandy in the end zone Russell Wilson with his second bad interception of the day. Another point opportunity wasted. This time, you are going to score a touchdown, not a field goal. Where's beast mode? That's my question. You get this close to the end zone. What is Russell Wilson doing even throwing the football here when beast mode got you down there, when beast mode has been going absolutely beast mode all game? Why is Russell Wilson even throwing the football here? Turn around, hand it to 24, and let him get in the end zone. That's the question I have. Doesn't matter. Russell Wilson, another bad interception. And like I've said, this Seattle Seahawks team, they've got struggles and they've got issues on the road. Those issues are starting to seep into them at home. They're not supposed to be in a close ball game with Tampa Bay at home. The Seattle Seahawks team that started this season out with the utmost confidence, they were lambasting teams at home early in the season, late last year. You come into CenturyLink and you got to see the 12th man and you're a bad football team, you don't stand a chance. Ask Jacksonville early in the season. You don't stand a chance in Seattle. All of a sudden now, I don't want to say they've hit an identity crisis because they know who they are. They run the football. Russell Wilson usually takes care of the football. But here in this game, that's not the case. They ran the football effectively. Beast mode, well over 100 yards, dominating the football game. But the Seattle Seahawks that I know, they get to the 4-yard line. They're turning around, handing it to Marshawn Lynch, and getting out of the way and letting him do what it is he does in the red zone, not allowing Russell Wilson to turn it over. And he threw 2 picks. Normally, Russell Wilson takes care of the football. It doesn't matter. They're still down 7 after the pick, and the Buccaneers might have dodged a bullet. Buccaneers, at this point, are stagnant on offense, can't generate even a first down. Seahawks get the football back, drive down the field, and a 10-yard TD strike to Doug Baldwin with 1 minute and 51 seconds remaining knocks the game up at 24. So at this point, you're saying to yourself, okay, this game either is going to overtime or the Seahawks could get the ball back and conceivably win this thing in regulation. The Buccaneers put together a mini drive, eat up the majority of the clock, get to midfield, drive stalls out, they punt the football. This game goes to overtime. So I said, hey, maybe Tampa Bay can win the toss, get the football, and not necessarily score a touchdown. I think their touchdown days in this game, they were over. They were numbered. But if they can get a field goal, maybe, just maybe, they can pull out a win. Nah, they're 0-7 for a reason. They get to the football, win the toss, 3 and out. Seattle gets the football, drives down the field, and this was a Marshawn Lynch beast mode heavy drive that gets them down the field. They get in prime field goal range. Russell Wilson centers the football. They send Stephen Hauschka out to the field to kick the game winner. He gets in there, knocks it through the uprights as the Seattle Seahawks avoid embarrassment and remain unbeaten at home in their last 12 games as they defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime, 27-24. Again, I've been saying this all weekend long with teams winning ugly. Doesn't matter how it looks. At the end of the day, you're 8-1 and undefeated at home. That's all that matters. Now look, there are some underlying issues here festering under the surface with this Seattle Seahawks football team. Number one is you need to get healthy. But this isn't supposed to be a close matchup at home versus Tampa Bay. It's just not. And so there are some issues that the Buccaneers, that the Seattle Seahawks need to resolve. And the Buccaneers exposed them. This team can be ran on. The Buccaneers had a field day on the ground versus this Seattle Seahawks front. So you got some issues up front on your defensive line, stopping the run. You've got issues offensively on the offensive line. We know about the struggles of this offensive line because of the injuries. That's just a matter of getting healthy. But Russell Wilson took a beating for the second consecutive week. And he can't continue to take the shots that he took in this game. I saw him get up for the first time in his NFL career. I saw Russell Wilson get up from the turf slow. And he took some shots. And there were a couple of personal fouls. The Buccaneers didn't care. They're 0-7. They don't have anything to lose. That's why you don't allow an 0-7 team to be in a ball game, and you don't allow a desperate 0-7 team near your quarterback because they don't care. They're going to lay the wood, and that's what they did. They had about 2 or 3 personal fouls in this game, and they were just looking to clobber Russell Wilson, and they did that. He took some shots in this game. You got to start protecting him a lot better than what you've done over the last 2 weeks. He was absolutely beat up against St. Louis. He was beat up in this game against Tampa Bay. You can't get Giacomini back fast enough. You can't get Russell Okung back fast enough. Those guys have got to hurry back. Max Unger left this game. You got to get this offensive line right because Russell Wilson took a beating. But you get the win, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. 27-24 is the final. You're 8-1 on the season, still in first place. And it was close. You almost fell back to a tie in first place with the San Francisco 49ers via the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Woo! You dodged a bullet. Buccaneers go to 0-8 on the season. Valiant effort. This team obviously has not quit on Greg Schiano, and they're going to beat someone at some point, but it just wasn't meant to be in Seattle. Tough loss if you're the Buccaneers. You were up 21-0 in this game and just couldn't hold on. You go to 0-8. Seattle Seahawks move to 8-1. Big win for the Seahawks in a game that shouldn't have resulted in a big win for the Seahawks, but they get it done. Again, it's not a beauty pageant. Just put another notch in that left-hand column. You were able to do that. You go to 8-1 on the season. So that's going to do it for this wrap-up of Week 9. Seahawks hosting the Buccaneers. Come back and join me as I still have more games to break down in week number 9. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down week number 9 in the National Football League.